Over the past year, I have kind of promised myself that I'll be watching more movies, specifically just expanding the genre of movies that I watch and not just keeping myself to the big blockbuster movies that come out in theaters and just kind of branching out and seeing what else is out there and just expanding my film knowledge and just trying to get more of those films in there that I might not have been interested in seeing in the past. So with that in mind, today's review is for Marriage Story. Now before we jump into the review, make sure you like, subscribe. I'd really appreciate all of that. Make sure you check out some of my other reviews. Like I said in the past, majority of my reviews right now are about the big TV shows and the big movies that have come out. But this movie has received a lot of praise, and it's on Netflix, easy access, so I decided to sit down last night and check out what all the rave was about. This movie is written and directed by Noah Baumbach, starring Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver, who play a married couple who are going through a divorce. So we're seeing their divorce, and we're seeing how they deal with it. Now, what I love about the movie is the very realistic element of the story. I'm 20, I've never been married or divorced, but the story felt really real to me. It felt really grounded. I believe I've read somewhere that the director said that this was kind of a personal story. And I remember Scarlett Johansson saying that this felt like a personal story to her because she was going through a divorce while filming this. So you can see how a lot of people around the project had a real connection to the story because it's a very realistic situation. And that's what I love about it, because it felt super authentic. But at the same time, it was really entertaining to delve into this relationship and into these characters' lives. Let's talk about the two actors that make this movie work. Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson give two of the best performances I have seen this year. I think they deserve all of the awards that are possible to give to them. Just give them the awards. They were fantastic. Everything from when they're together, their chemistry is fantastic, and even when each character is separated, each actor handles their own scene fantastically. And really, going back to what I said about being immersed in this relationship and caring about the characters, it really all has to go down to the performances and the acting, because if the performances are bad, then you really don't care about this relationship or about this couple, then basically the whole story falls apart. But what I love about it is that these two high caliber actors really brought their A game, and throughout the whole movie, I was just glued to the screen and glued to their relationship and wanted to see where it was heading for both of them. There's this one shot in the movie, and it took me a while to notice that it was one take, but it's this one long, like 5 to 10 minute take where Scarlett is just talking to her lawyer. And she's doing most of the talking because she's explaining what went wrong in her and her husband's relationship. And she goes through so many ranges of emotions. Like, she starts off with like this high energy, like telling the good sides of their relationship, and then it starts going downhill, and she starts like all crying and everything, and it starts to get all sad. But she does all of it in one take. And this one take, and just everything with how this movie was filmed and how this story was visually told, all goes down to the directing. The directing of this film was wonderful. And here's one thing that I noticed midway through the movie that changed my whole experience about how I see this movie now. About midway through the movie, I noticed that a lot of scenes start like fading to black. And so midway through the movie, I'm thinking to myself, why do they keep fading to black? And that's because, here's my kind of perspective on all of this, is that this film is kind of made to feel like a theater performance. That fade to black is like the curtain closing on the act. And then it fades into the shot, and now the curtain's open, and you're seeing something else. And after I caught on to that, and I drilled that concept into my mind, I was watching this movie in a completely different experience. I mean, this is going all the way back to the very long takes that they do without cutting, where they just let the actors go. And they're like, listen, here, you know your lines, you know what you gotta say, just do your thing. I mean, much in theater, you can't cut. The actor comes on stage, delivers his lines for however long it has to take, and then, they're off. And that's those long takes and those fade to blacks is what makes this feel like a theater experience for me. I don't think that I'm making this whole theater thing up. I mean, the whole movie, like, one of the key points is that there is a theater aspect to it. Adam Driver's character owns a theater company. That's like the biggest thing to him, that he's a playwright, that he's a writer, that he writes plays. So theater, I don't think I'm making it up, right? That this movie was supposed to be like a theater experience. One more thing I love about the story is that it wasn't so black and white. For me personally, when I was watching the movie, I wasn't like being like, oh, she's the bad guy. Or like, no, he's the douchebag. That's why they're getting divorced. I personally felt like it was one of those things where the relationship just faded out. It was kind of personality differences. Sure, there's a few times the story tries to push you maybe one way, that this person was at fault. But at the end of the day, I walked out of the movie feeling like it is what it is. Like, it just kind of happened. The relationship just kind of faded out. And yeah, I wasn't left with being like, oh, I hate that one person out of the two people that are in the relationship. Characters tend to act to each other like they don't really have any bad blood between them. Like, throughout this whole divorce process, they don't want to hurt each other. They still hang out with each other and talk with each other. I mean, they have the kid that they have to take care of, so they act all friendly with each other. But they know that that romantic aspect of their relationship is done, and that they could still remain good friends. And that's what I really liked about the movie, is that the movie treats it very balanced. Like, I'm not really going to hate one person or the other after the movie is done. So yeah, Marriage Story was great. I honestly, when I turned on, I didn't know how much I was going to be invested in it. But honestly, from scene one, I was extremely invested in it. I was invested in this relationship, into these characters' lives, into this characters' families. And I really cared for what was going to be the outcome for both of them. And so I think Noah Baumbach does a fantastic job, topped off with two great performances from Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver. And this movie is great. Check it out. It's on Netflix. Literally at home. You just turn it on. You don't have to go to the movies or anything, or pay ridiculous movie money, because movies are expensive nowadays. So if you enjoyed the review, I'd really appreciate it if you liked, subscribed, checked out some of my other reviews. I have a bunch out, and there will be more coming, because there's some new movies coming out that I want to see. So look out for those reviews, and I'll see you guys next time.